Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following week. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me, as always, is Andrew Meadows. How's it going over there, sir?
It's going pretty good. We're going to talk about a real cool movie, something I have always been a fan of.
You've always been a fan of this
Godzilla.
movie, this particular movie? You've been waiting for it your whole life? Is that what's happening here?
I've always, ever since I saw Godzilla 2000, the one with Matthew Broderick, I think.
Yeah, real classic film, sure.
Real classic
sure.
one with
One
the
of my
eggs under New
favorites.
York.
And anyone that knows me well knows that it's one of my all-time favorite films, so yes.
Ever since then, ever since that day as a child, I saw that movie. I've always been hyped up on Godzilla. Always.
Yeah, and, well, Godzilla has a new movie out there, and he has a big part to play in it. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting movie to talk about. I mean, if I may make such a bold statement, I feel like it had, like, one of the best trailers when it came out. Like, the first trailer that came out was just, like, the most hype-inducing shit possible. And
yes.
I think we've had, I mean, this is mostly, who really cares, I guess, other than the two of us? But we're the two of us talking, so we care, and that's enough.
That's it.
But like I was looking, and we were doing the art for this, so I looked back at previous art that we've done for previous episodes, and we've managed to incorporate Godzilla King of the Monsters art into two previous episodes, and now it's finally here. We get a proper setup for it to have its own art. But it's clear that we've been looking forward to this one for quite some time, and
yeah.
And we've had a chance to see it, so it's exciting to be here now. Just as Aladdin was kind of a long time coming, although I think kind of a different momentum with that one, with the how the marketing presented that film versus how the marketing presented this film. Now we have to see, does this live up to the hype? Aladdin was kind of a case of, well, we have like anti-hype for it based on what we've seen, and what we got was pretty surprising. Here, I don't know, I feel like there might have been some expectations walking in the door, so we'll have to see how it stacks
Absolutely.
up compared to those expectations. I know it's been critically disappointing, so we'll just have to wait and see if we
It's
agree with the
tracking
critics
like
or
a
not.
30% or 29%.
It's like
something
40-ish, somewhere around there, yeah, like an average rating of 5 out of 10. So, not the worst or anything like that, but certainly not living up to that trailer, potentially. But we may disagree, Wouldn't be the first time we've disagreed with the critics, but that's neither here nor there right now. Let's talk about Game of Thrones ever so briefly. Season 6 episode continues to be available on our Patreon. If you head to watchreviewrepeat.com, that's our website, of course, and click the premium tab in the top left, and then click the Become a Patron button. That would give you the ability to listen to that episode right now for only $2 a month. You'd get access to bonus episodes like that one, as well as any future bonus episodes that we're going to record on in the next few months, or however long you decide to help us out. And you get early access to all of our regular episodes. So it's a good way to support us if you feel so inclined. We're going to be recording on seasons 7 and 8 very soon, as soon as possible anyway, and we'll be getting those out the door also as soon as possible, so we can wrap up on our long gestating Game of Thrones coverage. I think we're ready to be done.
Yes.
In all honesty, but I still think that we have a few good episodes. I guess a couple episodes in store for you guys that should be pretty good overall. So there's that. Look forward to that. Season 6 episode should be up on the regular feed pretty soon after the release of this episode. I can tell you that much. So that probably undercuts my whole pitch to say, hey, give us money or whatever, but that's okay. That's okay. I think we haven't really sat down and talked about what we're going to be doing in terms of bonus episodes beyond Game of Thrones, but I think we can safely say it'll be a little bit more one-off type things, at least for the foreseeable future, to give us a break from having something like this hanging over our heads for arguably too long, definitely too long, really. So Godzilla, King of the Monsters. He's been a king of monsters for quite some time. So I know that there's a lot of history that goes with the Godzilla character, with the franchise. So there's I got to imagine there's lots of fun facts out there on the internets for you to hunt down. So surely you've got something exciting for us.
I have 2 fun facts, actually. First fun fact I will drop on you is many, many moons ago, I got you a Godzilla birthday card.
Oh, did you?
Do you remember that?
You might have to refresh my memory. It
I got
sounds
you a
vaguely
birthday
familiar,
card,
but I don't.
And you open the card and it was completely random. It's like, oh, Godzilla, and it's got like these people pointing at Godzilla's trampling on the buildings.
That
like
sounds
the old
right.
school.
Okay, yeah. It was like a kind of like a cartoony kind of Godzilla or something like that, wasn't it? Okay,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's a little
Not
fun
as good
fact
as
for you.
probably the present that of the company that was wrapped in aluminum foil, almost certainly. A real classic Andrew move for those not in the know, those not so
aluminum
fortunate to have
foil.
Received a present from Andrew Meadows.
Aluminum foils is the perfect wrapping paper. You need no tape.
It's very functional. Absolutely, I think more people should get on board.
It's shiny. It's always very festive and reflective. You know.
Oh yes, festive and reflective. Oh my.
A lot of good things. But my legitimate fun fact, besides aluminum foil wrapping paper is the best way to do it, and your birthday card, was the original 1954 Godzilla roar was made by dragging leather gloves along a double bass string. It was the yes.
Huh.
So,
I always figured that they. Oh, is there more?
there's more to it. But go ahead.
Okay.
What were you saying?
Well, I was going to say I would have guessed that they would have mixed. I feel like oftentimes when there's like a monster or it's like a mix of like 4 different animals, like, and so it just kind of creates something that's still feels animalistic, but it's just out there enough that it feels like something we've never heard before because fucking 4 animals kind of mixed into one, something like that. So I thought
Right.
maybe like they would have done that on top of like an animal roar or something like a lion's roar or something like that, just to kind of give something. But yeah, leather gloves on base.
It was a leather. It was a leather
huh.
glove coated with pine tar resin.
Hmm.
And they rubbed the glove down the strings of a double bass, and it resulted in the shriek. The Godzilla.
Yeah,
roar.
it sounds just like that, I'm sure.
It's very similar. But whenever the Gareth is his name, isn't it?
It depends on who you're referring to.
Gareth, the one that directed the last movie, not King of Monsters, but the 14,
The 2014, yeah, Gareth Edwards.
Yeah. They didn't reveal, at least according to this article, they had not revealed how they made the Godzilla roar for the new movie, but they did explain that they down mixed hypersonic sounds. So you sound, or not hypersonic, just the pitch. It was too high pitched for the human ear to recognize it. So they would record noises and then they would slow them down and pitch them down. Sounds interesting. And they also they took once they developed the roar, they rented the Rolling Stones speaker array, which is roughly 10 foot tall and 18 foot wide, and they put it in the middle of the valley in California. And they recorded the noise of the roar in cars about 50 foot away to hear, just to so they could, in this article from Entertainment Weekly, it says that so they could world eyes the audio. You know what I mean? Which sounds really pretty cool. And it was heard as far as 3 miles away. They had to before they could drag it in the valley and start playing it, they had to notify everybody that, listen, hey, Godzilla's not stamping through the middle of the valley.
It's not actually Godzilla, right?
Yeah, so they had to notify everybody, but they said that it went 3 miles out. They said that they think that if that speaker array was 300 foot in the air, that it probably could have doubled the distance. 6 miles away, you could have been heard. Just crazy.
Well, he's a big fucker, so I mean, I don't think he's going to sneak up on you or anything like that.
No,
he likes to roar. He likes to make his presence known as well. So
yeah. But yeah, anyway, that's my fun fact. Yeah, roar stuff, audio stuff, a little behind the scenes action.
I gotcha. Well, I have something of a fun fact as well. If that's all that you've brought to the table, I don't want to cut you off unnecessarily.
All I got,
all right, very good. So I have. I like to add the fun into the facts, and I thought that was fun. But this may be even more fun. And this is actually Godzilla pertinent, unlike my last few fun facts that I've trotted out the door. Now you talked about a film that was made in, I believe, 1954.
That's right.
I'd like to talk about a version of Godzilla that was made in 1978, which was an animated television series of Godzilla that was produced by Hanna-Barbera. That aired from 1978 to 1981. And I bring it up, and I don't think I knew about this animated show's existence for most of my life until it was brought to my attention by my brother, Jordan, former guest of this podcast, several episode guest of this podcast. And there's a particular character in this besides Godzilla who I think is an all-time classic Godzilla character. And so do you know anything about this? Have you ever heard of this show? Any familiarity?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I'm going to play the intro. Just the audio should give you enough indication. And I want to know what your immediate thoughts are, and then I'll fill in some gaps afterwards.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. All right. I think I got it queued up. We'll see if it actually plays.
Up from the depths, 30 stories high, breathing fire, his head in the sky. Godzilla, 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 and Godzuki.
The audio keeps I heard that.
All right, well, it sounds like it was cutting in and out on your end, but I'll go ahead and put the actual audio back in on top so that our listeners can experience it in its full glory. But there's a character in that by the name of Godzuki, in addition to Godzilla. He's apparently the Scrappy-Doo of the franchise in a way. He's described, he's the quote-unquote cowardly nephew of Godzilla, who can attempt to fly using the small wings under his arms, and whenever he tries to breathe fire, he usually just coughs up smoke rings. So, Godzuki, definitely the best Godzilla character. Well, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, because we're not going to be talking about Godzilla King of the Monsters for at least a little while, but maybe there's a Godzuki cameo waiting for you. I don't know. There might be. We'll have to get into it in spoilers. But anyway, that's my fun fact. I've never seen the show. I've just kind of watched clips and stuff like that. But Godzuki, just a classic character. So anyway, there's that.
He's a funny looking little creature.
He's a funny looking little lizard kaiju man. Well, he's not a man, but he's he tries his hardest, and he just wants to be like his uncle Godzilla. That's all.
That's it.
So. Good on you, Godzuki. Good on you. Let's talk some news. A little bit less this week. I think we've had a shorter gap between recordings. I think we're pretty much finally up to date in terms of the news. We were playing catch up for quite a while after our hiatus, but no longer. We're still a little bit behind in terms of releases and stuff like that, but that's okay. We'll get there eventually. Let's start with. We got a lot of trailers, so we can start with a trailer right off the bat. We want to start with a Ford v Ferrari official trailer. How does that sound? Does that sound like a good starting
pretty cool?
spot?
This movie looks pretty great. I'm actually kind of excited about it.
I didn't really know anything about it until I saw the trailer came out, watched the trailer. So it's coming from James Mangold, who is the director of Logan, 310 to Yuma, couple other things that people have probably heard of and watched and such, but those are the two that came to mind immediately. Got Matt Damon and Christian Bale playing the leads in this. Takes place 1966. This obviously appears to be based off of a true story, one which I'm not familiar with as someone that's not, I wouldn't say big on cars. Not that I dislike cars. I think they're quite functional and quite useful. Perhaps a little unsavory in terms of the environment, but overall, I can't complain about cars. I think you might be a little bit more well versed in cars for some reason. I can't quite put my finger on why, but yeah, it sounds like you're digging this from the trailer.
Yeah. So Shelby, Ford hires Shelby and a race car driver who I'm not familiar with. To build a car that can compete with Ferrari, in the Le Mans race, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Anyways, yeah, it's really I didn't know that this happened.
Okay, yeah.
But apparently the car that he makes is the Ford GT, and I'm sure you recognize that,
well,
right? Yeah.
Fucking spoiled the end of the movie. What the fuck, man?
Well, it's in the trailer. It's totally in the
I'm just
trailer.
kidding. I always find that like silly when it's like a true story, and I'm like there's a lot of true story, like like biopics or something like that, where I watch it and I'm like, well, I didn't actually know how this happened, but like I literally just could have gone on Wikipedia and figured this out, like
right.
So it's like people that get pissed off about like, I can't believe you fucking spoiled this thing that happened 50 years ago. And I'm like, I mean,
you're at a spoiler.
I think the spoiler embargo listed on it quite some time ago, i.e. when it fucking happened. They landed on the moon? What the fuck? God damn it. They just spoiled First Man. What the hell?
If you're a flat earther, you might be...
Yeah. It was filmed by Stanley Kubrick, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always Kubrick. Just blame Kubrick. I think that's the bottom line. Probably had something to do with this shit, too, if I had to guess.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, it looks really good. I like the cast a lot. It was a very stylish trailer. Looks like the racing sequences seem pretty kinetic, pretty well shot. So Christian Bale, I don't know when he filmed this compared to Vice, but he looks like the fighter Christian Bale almost. He's a lot more svelte in this role, but he's looking good. I'm so used to seeing or hearing Christian Bale with an American accent that like when I hear him with, I assume a British accent in this one, which is probably not far off his natural Welsh accent. Like it's kind of just like, it was actually kind of jarring, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's.
But good on him. Good on him. Looks good. November 15th, this comes out. So looking forward to this one. Absolutely. You have anything? You have something you're looking forward to?
Yeah, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark from producer Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro.
That's
you needed a little bit more panache behind that fucking delivery. I don't know what your deal is tonight, but you need to get your shit together.
It's been a miserable day. I'm trying to bring the energy, but I'm lacking.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, it sounds like you're excited about this, so maybe that will get the energy level up. What makes you excited about it?
It's being produced by Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo del Toro. There we go. And I think is well suited for the content. I remember reading this books as a kid, and they were always pretty terrifying, and the art was always fucking super scary.
The art
looking.
is always something that stuck out. And it seems like they've done a pretty decent job of translating the actual designs of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what I find interesting is that there's what seems to be a frame story with it, where it's all kind of connected and it's the same characters or like a group of characters that like maybe go in and out of these stories or experience the stories instead of just being kind of separate one-off things, which is kind of what I expected based on the previous material we'd gotten, like the Super Bowl TV spots, as I want to say, where we saw the last marketing material for this. So that's an interesting angle. I think I probably actually would have preferred an anthology approach, but I
think so too.
But I could also see how that might make it less marketable. Like I could see audiences walking in not expecting it to be like that, and then getting just like, story, and people kind of like, well, I wanted a big 2-hour movie, not this, or something like that. So anyway,
right? Yeah,
it looks fun. I mean, I guess it depends on what your definition of fun is or anything like that. But
that's true.
I like horror. Good horror's hard to come by these days, I feel. So maybe Guillermo del Toro's involvement bodes well. We'll see. He's only producing, but at the same time, his name's all over this thing. So
imagine he's pretty passionate about the project too.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being the case. So yeah, let's. We'll just have to wait and see how it turns out on August 9th of 2019.
That's it.
That is
around
it.
The corner.
All right. Well, we've got a teaser poster for Wonder Woman 1984 that came out, courtesy of director Patty Jenkins. It's very colorful, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, so this came on the heels of the news that WB announcing, or I guess confirming, that they won't be at Hall H of San Diego Comic-Con this year. And so this was kind of the I guess the apology was just like, hey, we don't have a lot of shit to show you at this point. But we have one little thing to show you. We've got Wonder Woman wearing some sparkly new armor. Looks like golden new armor, assuming that the color is actually accurate in this poster. There's a lot of colors going on, so it's kind of hard to tell a little bit. But it's a new look. It's a bold look for Diana Prince, I would say. But it's Gal Gadot. She's rocking it. So
absolutely. No, it's going to be I think a movie. I'm actually kind of excited about this one.
I am too. I'm disappointed that they ended up pushing the date because this was supposed to be a November release this year, and it seems fucked because they filmed it like a year ago. So like, I can't imagine there's that much post production. I think it was more of like a scheduling, like a WB scheduling thing, but I don't know what's coming out in November that would have made it so difficult. I think they were trying to spread their releases a little bit more than kind of what they had initially on the schedule. But yeah, so this is like almost a full year away at this point. I think when Patty Jenkins sent the tweet, it was literally like, hey, 1 year's time. So June 5th, 2020 is when it comes out. So I would expect that we won't see most of the marketing for this for a good while. But alas, what we have here is pretty good. Pretty good. I like it. At
Astra.
Oh, that was a very, very elegant segue. You just done. Thank you. I like that approach. It's very direct. It's very bold. I think we should do that more often. If there's just you got something on your mind, you just fucking shout it. Just shout it, man. Just do it. Go for it. Just fucking go
At
for
Astra.
it.
Yeah.
At Astra. Well, you got to tell me about Ad Astra. You can't just say 2 words that mean nothing to me and just leave me hanging.
Oh, we got a trailer for it.
Oh.
This is a science fiction film starring Brad Pitt and who's his dad?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones, that's it. Science fiction movie. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm not quite sure what's going on. It looks like they tried to find extraterrestrial life or something, and his dad's been missing for 30 years, and now he's got to go save his pops.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines.
Something tells me his pops is still alive. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't cast Tommy Lee Jones in that role. If I had to guess.
That's true.
If I had to guess.
Or his dad could be an alien.
His dad could be an alien, or maybe he was human at one point, and then he became an alien because of some wacky shit that he was transporting or something. I don't know. Yeah, I thought visually it looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm always down for proper science fiction, space exploration kind of thing. I always think that's a great subject matter. You got your 2001, cool. so sometimes it's a pretty high bar to clear. But you have your sunshines in there, which I, in spite of maybe third act woes, I think is a really, really great
pretty
film.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that this one, based on the trailer anyway, makes me excited enough to say that it's going to be in that caliber of film. But it's a good cast, and I think what we have here is interesting enough for me to say, okay, yeah, I don't really, sure. I'm kind of with you. I don't really know what the hell's going on here, but I'm willing to investigate further when it comes out on September 20th. I think
that's right around the corner too.
I could see there being a lot more to this film than what they've shown us here, which is good. I'm hoping that's the case. You know what I mean? You don't want to have seen the movie before you see the movie, which too often is the case. So
right,
yeah, I like that. I like. I actually do like this trailer. I was admittedly a little surprised that I liked it as much as I did. Marvel's Jessica Jones season 3. Talked about it very recently because it is literally a week away now from when we're recording this. Season 3, the final season's coming out on Netflix, and they put out a full 2-minute plus trailer for it, which gives us a little bit more deets. Gives us the deets on what season 3 is going to look like, and it looks like Jessica Jones. It looks like Marvel Netflix, I'd say overall. Yeah, but it looks a little bit more interesting than I think season 2 is in my head. I know if I envision how season 2 played out, it's fine. But this looks a little bit more season 1-esque in terms of like the style of it. Like it almost seems like they're trying to go back to Jessica being an actual PI and stuff like that. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What's your take on this? I think we've established we're gonna watch it and stuff anyway, for completion's sake, if nothing else. But it's a little weird. Is that what you said?
He looks a little weird. He looks like a weird villain, a little bit.
Yeah. So this is a comic book villain, apparently, one I was not familiar with, by the name of Fool Killer. So I can't decide if Fool Killer is like the most comic book name ever or not. It's very comic booky.
It's pretty comic booky.
Yeah. But I don't know if I like it. I mean, like David Tennant, Kilgrave is technically the Purple Man in the comics and stuff like that. So, but he didn't really get the Purple Man moniker within the series itself. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, it looks. I would say if I have any reservations with it, like I know that they're doing the Trish being a superhero angle, but her proto Hellcat outfit looks like dog shit, which I assume it's probably supposed to look like dog shit. But it still looks like dog shit. I mean, at least Daredevil's, vigilante outfit actually looked badass enough that they went back to it for a full season when season 3 came out and got away with it. Here, it's just like, if I had to watch a whole fucking season of Trish wearing this, I don't know if I can handle it. And I'm also... thematically, I'm just not sure that the whole fraud angle works, because Jessica doesn't purport herself to be a hero. In fact, literally the way this trailer ends is just like, I don't give a flying fuck about what anyone says about me, so why would she care about what this guy says about her? Right. Doesn't mean that she will in the series proper. I don't know. I mean, I feel like, it's got all the interesting enough beats that you'd expect out of something like this, but I don't know. We'll watch it. I don't know if I'll watch it. I don't know if I'm going to watch it immediately. I think that's probably the one thing I will say. Maybe I'll say that as a, to flag our listeners.
Don't expect it quick. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. We got a lot of stuff that we got to watch, a lot of stuff to catch up on still. So this is somewhere in the list, somewhere towards the top of the list, so we can get around to covering it in a relatively timely fashion. But I don't see myself burning through 13 episodes. I think it's 13 again. I don't see myself burning through 13 episodes of Jessica Jones in like a weekend. Just don't think it's gonna happen.
Definitely
I don't think I have the brain power or the willpower for that. So, yeah. But yeah, June 14th. Anyone that wants to catch it has the opportunity to do so. So that's good. That is good. One last piece of news. One last piece of news is all yours.
I start a show. Mm-hmm. I watched an episode, and second episode's not out yet, and the show gets canceled.
Yeah, you're just a real bad luck charm is what it is.
Swamp Thing looks pretty great, and they canceled that shit before the second episode even came out. Apparently they canceled it from what I've read. I've been trying to follow up because it seems very strange. But they the city of North Carolina, or the state of North Carolina, apparently did not. And something happened with their what would you call it? Incentives?
Yeah, like the tax rebates, incentives, stuff like that.
Yeah, so they $40 million, which is half of the budget of the show. They didn't get paid when they were supposed to because of a mix-up in paperwork or something. So they can't.
I read that. I've heard conflicting things. Like some sources have been going with that, saying that someone fucked up the paperwork somewhere, and so basically, DC was expecting to get so much money back as part of the tax incentives for filming in North Carolina, and then when they didn't get that money back, they're like, we can't afford to make this show anymore. Like, we literally we're not gonna pony up that much money. And the only reason we did it this way is because of that. And then North Carolina came out and said that's all fucking bullshit. And I think DC has also said that's bullshit. So I don't know if they're covering their asses or if maybe it just is bullshit. I have seen other sources saying that basically there was an impasse between the creators of the show and the executives, the DC or Warner Brothers executives, where the execs wanted one thing and the showrunners kind of balked and said, no, it shouldn't be that thing. And so that kind of became a contentious issue, and basically that kind of led to the downfall, where they didn't want to make a compromise and said, you know what, fuck you. We're the ones in charge, so we're pulling the plug on this. The first season is still going to air in its entirety. So it's not like we'll never see the light of day, but this is already after they cut production on the first season short. So I'm not overly confident that it's going to end. in the best manner. I could definitely see having a Constantine-esque abrupt kind of ending, which is unfortunate for a streaming show because it's like, hey, like I should be able to plan ahead well enough. Like it's different. I think it's a different like when it's a network thing when you're just like, I mean, like there have been shows on networks that have been out for like, they within like 2 weeks of airing, they're canceled, and then most of the stuff just never gets released at all. So of course it's unfinished business. But here it's like you've had time to fucking get it worked out. I'm not saying that it won't finish in any sort of satisfactory manner, but I'm not confident just based on the seemingly shit show of a production that it somehow devolved into. So I do want to. I will watch it. I'll probably end up watching it. I get probably closer to when most of the episodes have aired. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week a little bit. Reviews were really fucking good for this, so it seems bizarre that the execs are balking at it. You like even if they were like, no, it should be this, and then the reviews come out and say like, actually, what they did is fucking great. Just do that. Just make more of that. Like I don't know, fucking execs. Too much millions, not enough brain cells. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, dude.
I think you know what I'm saying. Well, do you know what I'm saying when I say that I want to talk about Godzilla, King of the Monsters? Do you know what I'm saying when I say that?
I do know what you're saying.
Do you know what I'm saying if I say that it was written by Michael Dougherty and Zach Shields? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying if I say... All right, I'm done with that. No. I don't think I could... No, I'm just not doing it. Godzilla, King of the Monsters was directed by Michael Dougherty, stars Kyle Chandler, Vera Farmiga, Millie Bobby Brown, a.k.a. Eleven, Bradley Whitford, Sally Hawkins, Charles Dance, a.k.a. Tywin Lannister, Thomas Middleditch, Aisha Hines, O'Shea Jackson Jr., David Strathairn, Ken Watanabe, and Shang-Chi. I think I got that right. I don't know. I had to look that last one up. I was just like, fuck it. I don't know, man. And Godzilla, I mean, come on, it's Godzilla. Humans must rely on Godzilla to defeat the three-headed King Ghidorah, who has awakened other titans to destroy the world. Let's talk box office. What do you know what I'm saying when I say I want to talk about box office? You thought I was done with it, but I brought it back there. I brought it back. Godzilla! There we go. Perfect. Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. I would say, in my estimation, you know myself to be a box office expert, of course. I would say pretty soft opening for Godzilla, King of the Monsters overall. I think, let's see, it did $47.7 million in its opening weekend, which was good for number one for that particular weekend. But it was a bit of a come down, I believe, from both the first Godzilla, the 2014, not the first Godzilla, but the 2014 Godzilla, which was its predecessor, and Kong Skull Island in 2017, I want to say, which I think they both did considerably better. Not like amazingly better, but like...
I still haven't seen that.
I take that back. So the 2014 Godzilla did $93 million, so it's almost half of that, a little bit more than half of that, and then $61 million for Kong in 2017. So it's well off the mark for both of those. So that doesn't really bode well for the MonsterVerse or whatever the hell, I think Paramount. I think Paramount's the one that put this out. I don't even know. WB. No, it's a WB. I don't. It's supposed to be part of this MonsterVerse. It's the third film in that. You had the Godzilla, you had the Kong Skull Island. Now you have this one. You may have something in the future. We'll talk about it in spoilers. So overall, in terms of the box office receipts, I think that has to be a disappointment for WB. Also, somewhat of a follow-on to that, since we're recording a little bit later in the game. It almost dropped 70% in its second weekend. So it's just getting crushed. Box office wise, it's going to struggle to $100 million domestically. With the way that its legs have been so far, it may not even get there, which I think would be a pretty dismal result overall. But the good news is China loves them some big monsters. So China, I think, has put up $70 million alone. So they're basically neck and neck with America. So it sits just under $300 million worldwide, $292 million. But I would say, based on the looks of it, they spent a pretty penny on it. It certainly looks... They spent
a fucking fortune in marketing.
Definitely looks like they spent a lot of money on it. I have a production budget of $170 million listed, but it looked like more than that. So I mean, plus marketing stuff too, and seemed like they definitely spent on marketing. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that this will not turn a profit when all is said and done. But things are already in motion, and again, we'll talk about it when we get into spoilers. So that's the box office on Godzilla King of the Monsters. I can tell you that I contributed twice to its box office. Not necessarily constrained to the opening weekend, but we can get into that. Let's get into the movie. What do you have for non-spoilers? What are your overall impressions of Godzilla King of the Monsters?
Godzilla King of the Monsters is a badass movie.
Badass? Is that what you said?
It's badass.
Okay,
I think it's really
interesting. Because I mean, this was getting torn apart by critics.
Oh,
So-
and it deserves to be torn apart by critics.
Okay, interesting. So badass, but maybe not good. Is that where we're heading?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
definitely not good. I don't
Okay.
think it's good. I don't think it's good by any stretch of the imagination. But it's fucking cool. Like I was not. You know, you have to have like certain
It's entertaining,
expectations.
for sure.
Yeah, super entertaining. It's too long. I think it has trouble. It's got bad pacing. I think you could probably cut out a good 20 minutes of it. I think maybe 20, 30 minutes. Maybe like a third of the movie I could just probably do without. Like it didn't do anything for me.
Okay.
Certain settings anyways. I feel like there's a lot to be shaved off. You could definitely tighten it up. But I had an absolute fucking awesome time watching it. I thought it was cool.
Let me ask you this: did you IMAX it up or anything?
I did. I went
Okay.
to
This
IMAX.
is like a movie that, like, I mean, based on the trailer alone, like,
begs to be watched in a large
you're
format,
right.
I
You
think.
knew you're gonna get some fucking kaiju versus kaiju action, serious kaiju versus
Yeah.
kaiju action. I mean, the trailer did not sell you short on that, and yeah. So okay, well, let me. I don't want to cut you off. I have a habit of doing that. So
No, you're
So
all
what
right,
else you
man.
got?
So it's a stupid movie. It's too
okay,
long.
all right, yeah.
Stupid, too long, and poorly written. But it's a lot of spectacle. They spent a lot of money in CG. The monsters are fucking cool. The fight scenes are cool. A lot of spectacle. Sound design was awesome. And I just thought it was just really fucking cool, man. I had a lot of fun watching it. Somebody's in trouble, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Godzilla's stampeding around in your neck of the woods, dude.
There'll probably be a few more sirens going off if that were the case. Yeah, I was wondering because you started with badass. I was like, oh shit, was he all in on this? Like, I don't know. Like, but yes, you pulled it back a little bit because I was like, oh man, this we rarely diverge, I think, in our opinions. Like, even when I think we are going to diverge in our opinions, we ultimately kind of end up both, like largely in the same sphere. And well, sure enough, we're kind of in the same sphere this time around too. So I saw this actually twice, as I said, not because I loved it so much the first time around. I just had to see it the second time around. No, it was a little bit of a different story. It was kind of an Andrew type story. I would say, in my opinion. Put my best
What
Andrew
happened?
impression on anyway. So I went to see this the first time around in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I was hanging out there with Henry, a many time guest of our show, longtime listener, probably since episode 1, if I had to guess. So we were out, we had a few drinks, had a few beverages, and we went to go see it at the IMAX at the Tropicana Casino. And it's like one of like the only quote unquote real IMAXs in our nearby area. Like our usual IMAX is a Limax.
Right.
Most people don't know the difference. Most people don't care. Our Limax is an AMC, so we just suck it up because it's part of the A-list. It's not a big deal. But we figured, this is fucking Godzilla. We saw the trailer. Like, this is legit shit. Like, it would be cool to see it with, like, an actual,
Proper
bigger
deal.
screen, like a proper IMAX-sized screen like there is in Point Orlando, kind of
Right.
like that. And so we had never been to this theater. We went to check it out. But we'd already had a day leading up to it. We saw like a 9:30, something like that. So we watched it, and I was good for like a half hour. And then I just drifted. I just started to drift, man. And I just could not keep my eyes open for like more than like 30 seconds at a time. And like I was just drifting, and I'd wake up and I'd see fucking big monsters fighting and shit.
Go back to sleep.
And And then I'd like, and then the humans would come on screen, like, and I just kind of drift a little bit. And so I kind of was just, like I said, the first half hour was great. I got all of that. I processed it. But by the time the credits rolled around, you have the big, the fucking Blue Oyster Cult cover with fucking System of a Down guy in it. And I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't know what the hell happening, man. I don't know what's going on over here. And so, interestingly enough, I got the broad strokes of it. Big monsters fighting, and certain monsters winning, and things are happening, and these people are dying, and these people are still alive, and stuff like that. So, I got broad strokes of it, but like the actual nitty gritty of the plot, I was so lost on. I was so lost, and I was just like, I'm not willing to blame the movie for this. It's entirely possible this is an incoherent piece of shit. I don't know, but I was just like, I haven't seen enough, and I was not cognitively present enough to make that determination.
Right.
And so I told myself, I was just like, I'm just going to have to watch it again. Because there's just no way. If I came home that night, which we didn't, responsible and all, if we had recorded, literally, right after I saw it, walking out, my review, to quote Hulk from Thor Ragnarok, would have been, "Big monster." That would have been my review of the film, because that's all I got out of it was big monster. So fortunately, I did see it again. It's actually it does hold up, but there is other stuff going on. Perhaps to its detriment, perhaps not. I don't know. Perhaps a bit of both. But I saw it again. I saw it in IMAX again, actually, this time with an AMC A-list, so it was all IMAX or whatever. But I had a chance to see it again, so I can say that I understood this movie. I will say it makes a lot more sense when you're awake through the whole thing.
Right. It doesn't make it less.
That's not to say that there aren't things in it that are dumb. That's not to say that there are things in it that aren't kind of just make you scratch your head a little bit. And that's not to say that it's not chock full of the problems that you mentioned, i.e. pacing, a lot of screen time given to characters that don't need a lot of screen time given to them, things like that, things of that nature. And I think ultimately that is the problem with this movie, is that the writing fails it. The spectacle, as you mentioned, is there. Oh, it's there in spades. You saw it in that first trailer. And unfortunately, I think what happened here is that it happens every now and then. The trailer's better than the movie. It really, it is.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the trailer kind of showed a lot of the cool shit, and it disguised a lot of the shit that was not so good, the not so cool shit. And unfortunately, that is the stuff that takes up a lot of the screen time, is spending a lot of time with, A, too many characters, and B, characters that are just all over the place. Yeah. I would say. So you got your main family unit, you got your Kyla Chandler, you got your Vera Farmiga, and you got 11, Millie Bobby Brown. And I think individually they're all pretty good in their roles, but their characters are just all over the map. It's actually a similar problem I had with Kong, which I think you said you had not seen.
That one, no.
That had 800 characters for no fucking reason. It was literally it was a group that went to Skull Island. And we don't have to review the entirety of Kong Skull Island or anything like that. But basically, it was a group of people there that could have been 5 or 6 people, but it was legit 13 or 14 main people in the group.
Right.
And it was just why are there so many fucking characters? And as you might expect with a movie with so many characters, most of them had nothing to do or just kind of standing around. But it does have Brie Larson in it, so maybe you should watch it.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And it is tied into...
Yes.
It is part of this universe and such. So there's a little bit of reference given to that movie because it takes place, I think, in the 70s or 80s. So it's all timeline wise, it's predating all the Godzilla stuff by many years and such. So anyway, Kong Skull Island aside, I had similar complaints here where it was just there was just a lot of characters. They had all the Army or Air Force characters that were just one-liner spitting, not like Arnold one-liner spitting machines, but they would pan away to these characters and they'd say oh, shit's going on now, and I'm who gives a fuck? Who are these guys? Why do we keep coming back to these guys? Who cares? Just kill them, or just don't put them in the movie at all. It was really bizarre how they did a lot of that, and I felt like the focus was all over the place. The villain had no real anything going on. Like
no-
Charles Dance, cool, great. Like, we know he fucking crushed in Game of Thrones, but like, what's his character about? Why is he doing anything that he's doing
here, man? What are you doing?
Like, what's his angle? What's anyone's angle? What's like the humor? It seemed like it was like reshoot type like humor. Like oh, we got to make this movie funny. So they're like, here's Thomas Middleditch to have a few sex jokes here and there, and I'm like, yeah, but why? You know what I mean? Like, and so it's really just kind of all over the map in terms of its characters, and I think that. It's a movie that runs just north of 2 hours. It's not a particularly long movie, but it's one where I think the pacing falters because they spend so much time with these guys, and I'm just like, well, I don't care about any of these people, and like you want to make me care about this family or whatever, but like I don't care about this family.
There's one character that gets offed, and I remember thinking to myself. Like, because there was a response to it, there was a visible response among the other characters when this one character gets offed, and I'm like, am I supposed to care about this? Because I don't. We can talk about it.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember it or not.
I think I might know what you're talking about, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll
it's
see.
like I don't really care.
Yeah, and I like there, it's clear to me that like the director like obviously was just like. We're going to have, like, some badass monster fights. And there's some badass monster fights, man. You got good Godzilla action. You've got fucking King Ghidorah as a badass in this.
Oh, yeah.
You got, Rodan and Mothra. Like, some really cool shit. And the way it's shot is really cool. It looks like it's all poster-esque or, like, wallpaper-esque or canvas-esque, however you want to describe it. Like the way that a lot of it's framed, it really feels like something that you could absolutely frame and put on your wall. Like a lot of it's just so fucking immaculately shot, and the colors are very vivid. I will say there's a lot of particle effects going on, like clearly like it's always raining or something like that, which I think is probably honestly mostly just a maneuver to help the visual effects not be so ridiculous, where if everything's in broad daylight, things kind of are that much clearer, that much more in focus, and it's harder to disguise things that don't work as well.
There's a story device.
I'm surprised.
There's a story device for the particle
absolutely
effects.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's part of the original Godzilla lore or anything, but I'm fine with it. Like it's totally fine. Yeah, like it's fine. Like it doesn't detract. It's not like the fact that it's rainy or the fact that it's darker sometimes. Like it's still very easy to see. Everything is very easy to see. And if I could say one nice, I could say a few nice things about it. I mean, it's absolutely an entertaining film. Don't get me wrong, but it's only entertaining because of that. But the nice thing is, unlike the 2014 Godzilla, there's a fuck ton of it.
Yeah,
and I think that's where it shines. That's where it's fun. Is that even though it spends too much time with these assholes no one cares about, it does ultimately kind of give us that sort of monster versus monster action that Godzilla was blocking for most of its runtime until like the very end. So basically like the tail end of that 2014 Godzilla is like they turn that shit up to 11 for basically the entire runtime of this movie.
Yeah.
And when it does deliver, like when it gives you that, I think it delivers. I think it does overall. Like there's some really cool shit that happens. And the way that it's depicted is really cool. Like even like like the final act, like
oh man.
Like last time around, Godzilla busted out like a badass atomic breath into the Muto's mouth and fucking blew his ass up.
Turn this up to
here,
11.
like here. You're like, well, how do you top that? Like,
I'll show you.
Like, there's a legit moment where you're just like, man, like Godzilla just fucking radiated that guy's fucking face off. Like, what do you do now? And they stepped their game up. They absolutely did. Like, they came up with a pretty creative solution for the final act where like shit is just wild, man.
It's wild.
And I really enjoyed that.
I lost my mind.
So
I sat over there. I went over and I saw this movie with my girlfriend's dad. It took him. He likes movies. I was like, "Hey, you want to go see Godzilla?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll go see Godzilla." So we went over to Godzilla, and I don't know how much he actually liked it. But I sat over there with my arms crossed, and I laughed this entire movie. I had a thoroughly good time.
It's totally ridiculous, man. Yeah. It's totally ridiculous. And I think when it leans into that, it's great, man. Like, but then there's a real hokiness to the human aspect of this film, and not even like a tongue in cheek, like we know this is some dumb shit. It felt like, honestly, I don't think it's this bad, but sometimes it felt a little Michael Bay. with the human characters. You know what I mean? Like just absolute throwaway, paper thin bullshit. Like very little effort expended on that.
I tell you what was cool.
Tell me what was cool.
Well, I'll tell you what was neat with the human aspect of it. I guess that's not really the human aspect of it, but the I thought it was cool anyways, was the universe building. They reference a lot of what's going on and the lore between the monsters and the organization that is, you know, doing all the research on the monsters and stuff like that. They really take a deep dive into it, and maybe they take too deep of a dive into it, and I don't know if that's where it starts to fall, but I really think it starts to fall just the characters. You don't care about anybody. I just found myself the lore of the monsters, the history of the monsters, the organization researching the monsters, and then the monsters. I don't care about
I feel the same way. I mean, I like the lore of it. I like that they are... I mean, I feel like fucking this is like one of the last vestiges of trying to build a cinematic universe. I mean, the MCU obviously taking the world by storm, and then there was a time period where everyone was just like, oh my god, we have to do that. And so you had DC doing their thing, falling flat on their face, and now they're kind of scaling their efforts back in an attempt to just be kind of more standalone type stuff. There was the fucking Dark Universe with the Mummy, which took one movie for them to say, like, actually, you know what?
Never mind.
We're fucking done. We fucked it. Sorry, never mind. There's a few others I feel like that have kind of tried and failed. But this one's only 3 movies in, so we'll see what happens, obviously, with it.
And I would totally
Box
take a
office
giant monster movie. I would totally take a hokey.
Yeah, I think it's cool, man.
Thing,
I mean,
you know?
The way I see it, I mean, throw some fucking Jaegers in this bitch. I'm down with that. I mean, maybe wait a little while, pump the brakes on that. You know, maybe you could bring all the Toho stuff in. You know, a lot of the Godzilla stuff that they've done in the past. You know, bring all that lore in. Like, I think the lore is absolutely one of the coolest things of this, and I love that they've leaned into that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it in spoilers, but there's lore in like the weirdest places in this film.
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah.
But and a lot of it as well, weirdly enough. Like a lot of like things that like, hey, maybe we could have seeded that into the movie, but no, you're gonna put it there. Okay, good for you, I suppose. But I like that. I like that aspect of it. I think the Godzilla stuff, like I enjoy like the reverence that they seem to have for the Titans and Godzilla, and like, you know, like humans. Like, I mean, I think it's absolutely true. If in fact there was a Godzilla or a Godzilla-esque type figure in our world, and then, you know, he comes onto the, you know, the world stage like he did in the 2014 Godzilla and fucking wrecks cities and shit. Even though he's our kind of protector in that movie or whatever, you'd feel a little small in the scheme of things, wouldn't you?
Blow that motherfucker up.
Well, there's that. Well, I mean, that would be one response, obviously, right? Yeah. You know, and that's clearly a response that people in this movie have, is just like, hey, if we allow this fucking skyscraper-sized monster to roam around, who are we? Like, we are done as a species. Like, we're fucking done. Like, we have to kill that thing, otherwise we will go extinct. And then there's other people who are just like,
no, man.
Yeah, humans are shit anyway. We'll let them take over. This is fine. And then there's other people that are just kind of like, I don't know how the fuck this works, but shit, man, I ain't touching that. I ain't going near that thing. You know, just let it do what it wants to do, man. Fuck that. So I think it's interesting that they kind of, it seems like they do kind of deal with maybe some semi-real world aspects of how our world would be impacted by this.
The broad strokes are there.
The
for
Titans
a good movie.
and stuff like that. Right.
The
yeah, it's just I think it's the details.
Right.
The details there, the dialogue is bad, the interactions are bad. Just the motivations for characters are unclear at best, sometimes
bad.
Just dumb at worst, I suppose. Outright dumb at worst, you know. Some real Thanos did nothing wrong type sentiments going around, I suppose. But it's entertaining, you know, and I will say I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed it more when I could actually see it and when I got a little bit more out of it than Big Monster. But at the same time, it's a Big Monster kind of movie. You know, I do think that in some ways kind of sums it up. So, yeah, well, we could talk about some stuff in spoilers for sure. Do you have any non-spoiler stuff you want to touch on?
No, we can go ahead and
all right. So recommendation. It's tough because it's so visually interesting. Like like there's so much like just visually splendorific type things happening that like it almost, we talked about it as like, oh, you got to see this in IMAX. Walking in, that's how I felt. There's no way I'm recommending this as an IMAX visit. I don't even know that it's playing in IMAX anymore. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's not as of recording this, because I went to see it when I did see it because Dark Phoenix was taking over the screens the next day, and I'm like, yeah, fuck that. So IMAX is even out as an option to recommend this to see. I don't think I would go as far as to say it to see it in theaters anyway. I'm not even sure if I could give this a Blu-ray recommendation either, Like I think we're like, we did Aladdin, I think that was kind of teetering between Blu-ray and theater. This probably teeters between streaming and Blu-ray. Like I think visually Blu-ray, like I would probably buy this movie for like $5 to $10 on Blu-ray or 4K. It'd be a good 4K movie, I think, visually.
HDR movie, yeah.
But I think in terms of like just pure quality of the movie, which technically, like I feel like a review scale at least was somewhat intended to capture the quality of the movie, not necessarily the technical quality of the movie, but like, hey, how good is this movie? How quote unquote good is this movie? And I don't think this is a good movie. I don't think it's like I had a good time with it. Like I'm not saying that it's not entertaining. I'm not saying that it has things in it that will keep you entertained. And I'm not saying that like anyone could absolutely watch this movie and have a grand old fucking time. But I think taking a step back, if I called this a good movie, I'd be fucking lying a bit. I would be lying to you about it. Like I just think there's too many black marks on the film overall to really kind of take that next level, step and say that, oh, they nailed it this time. But honestly, I don't think it's that far off the mark from Godzilla 2014 or Kong Skull Island. So my recommendation, I'll say Blu-ray to be generous. It's not a pay me to watch it type thing. It's not that bad. It's absolutely entertaining enough. I wouldn't spend a lot of money on it, I would say only watch it if you enjoyed Godzilla 2014 or Kong Skull Island. Again, I think it's totally comparable in terms of quality to those. I think they're all mediocre films at best, with good moments of spectacle, with
Skull Island
some kind of pretty massive, egregious flaws. Yeah, Skull Island had spectacle in it.
I think I own it. I think I might put that in after I get off the thing here.
I've only seen it. I saw it once in theaters, and then I think I bought it for like $7 or some shit on Black Friday. I never watched it again, but I mean, I have it. It's a totally ownable movie. That's where I am with that. Like, if this comes out at Black Friday and they drop it to like fucking $10, yeah, I'll go in on it. I'm not going to buy it day one. That's crazy talk or anything, something like that. But sure, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. So I'll say Blu-ray asterisk. Like if you have no interest in Big Monster at all, fucking run away as far as possible.
I guess that's all you're getting.
I'll say that. Yeah. What do you think?
I think that I'm going to segue here. I went to go get my hair cut the other day with the guy that always talks. I talked about movies with him,
Okay, all right. I'm curious to hear what his take is.
Yeah, so I sit in the barber shop and I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I feel like I don't really fit in at the barber shop.
I feel the same way. Usually, I'm just like, I just want to sit here in silence to get my hair cut. I don't need to have no small talk, yo. So, maybe we're just socially awkward. I don't know what it is,
but now I'm getting to the point now where I always get the same barber, and the moment I sit down, I just, hey dude, did you see this? And I start talking to him. And Honcho over on his right, he always like eavesdrops in on the conversation. And he's, and then we end up having like a 3-person conversation. I end up having a conversation with like 3 or 4 people at the bar, all the haircutters about movies, and it's getting to be pretty cool. I actually look forward to going to get my hair cut now.
It's a real Luke Cage situation. Sounds like
it's pretty great. Hopefully, there's no drive-bys.
No. So all right. So you get Pop's cutting your hair. All right.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm talking to the dude, and Honcho over on the other side of him over there says, "Oh, so what'd you think about Godzilla?" And I said, "Oh, it's real badass." He's like, "Oh, that's great." Well, hold on a second. It's real fucking stupid, but it's badass. It's cool. He's like, "Well, that doesn't seem. I don't know what to think about that." It's like, well, I mean, do you like giant monsters, man? Well, no, not really. Well, then you won't like this movie. But it's a lot of fun if you like giant monsters, because it's just a stupid giant monster movie. That's all it is.
It's a bunch of excuses for giant monsters to fight each other. That's fine.
That's it.
That's
Yeah, it's
totally fine.
if that's what you're going for, you know?
I just wish they would move past the facade of like anyone like pretending to give a shit about any of this. It's like just let the monsters fight. It's fine. It's fine.
And I
to
feel
let the
like
monsters
in
fight.
a lot of ways, I feel like, I mean, it's too long because they tried to cater to those people that don't want us. They want more than just giant monsters fighting. But I think they catered to both in this because there's a lot of giant monsters fighting.
Well, I will say that it's possible to have a giant monster movie where more than just giant monsters happening. In fact, I think it's been done pretty recently in Japan within the Godzilla franchise alone with Shin Godzilla, which is fucking legit.
That was really good.
That one's a little bit all over the place in terms of like the pacing on that one is like bang, 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 bang,
Boom,
like
boom.
with that one,
Neck
like
break,
really
right.
crazy, like breakneck pacing. And I haven't seen it in a little while, so I don't know. But I feel like character-wise, it's definitely
No, it's
simpler
really good.
here. But that one's interesting because of the breakneck pacing of it. Like characters are always just responsive to things instead of like here it's like kind of like a fake proactivity with the characters. Like, well, what if we do this? And I'm like, they're fucking big monsters. Like you can't do anything. No, come on. Like I felt like the way that one handled it was really, really cool, really smart too. Anyway.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think that this movie's total Blu-ray. Oh, shit. Sorry about that. I think it's total Blu-ray recommendation. I feel confident in saying it's a Blu-ray recommendation. If you have the 4Ks, get it in the 4K HDR. I would say that this movie would be a... like, there's movies that, like, when you buy a new TV, the first thing you do is pop in a nice Blu-ray, and you kind of get the...
yeah, this could be reference material for sure.
Exactly. Reference shit. You know, and I do that with new audio equipment. I do that with new TVs and stuff.
Just mute everything real quick, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah. Fast forward to the cool parts, you know, get to the scenes, and then just kind of dial in your TV. It's total reference material. It's a beautiful movie. And it's really fucking cool. It's really fucking loud. And, you know, if you're into monster movies or if you're just into, like... if you're into reference material, I guess, you know, go see it in the largest format possible because it's pure spectacle. And you do have, you know, you got some sitting there with your arms crossed parts and you're just kind of, you know, get through the shit and let me see more of it. And that's the cool thing. You don't have to wait to the third act to be entertained. It's entertaining throughout the movie, which is nice. But yeah, I would say it's a solid Blu-ray recommendation. And if you're really into monster movies, or just really cool spectacle shit, then largest format possible, because I think it really pays off from the IMAX format and the audio. For sure, that shit is loud in the movie theater.
Yeah. It was a very good IMAX experience, I thought, overall. I liked the score was good too. Bear McCreary score was good. And it looks great. Like the visual effects held up to that massive size. Yeah, like it again. You know, it was kind of massaged here and there to make it look as good as it could for what amount of money was being thrown at it. But they did a really good job of making it look really fucking good. I have no complaints on like a visual standpoint whatsoever.
That's just the thing, you know. As an experience, it's definitely, I think it's a worthwhile IMAX experience, but as a movie, it's a poor movie.
It's a little bit more like a theme park ride, you know, like treat it like that, like a 2-hour plus theme park ride. It's fun, you know. You maybe don't expect, Oscar caliber or anything, but that's fun. And the actors, I thought, gave it their all for what they could overall.
For what they were given, right?
Right. Like I didn't think anyone like totally phoned it in. I'm just like, oh, this is dumb. But they did what they could. None of them,
except that the
none of them
comedian
carried
guy.
the fucking material. But
the comedian guy totally phoned in, I think.
He just felt like he was in a different movie, man. Like it really was just bizarre. Like he walked off the set of Silicon Valley and like strolled into Godzilla, and it's just like, why?
What are you doing here, dude?
Just why?
How'd you get to the bottom? How'd you get to the bottom of the ocean? What are your credentials?
Yeah, right. He's like the head of some science division or some shit. Like, really? This guy? Director of technology. That's what he is. I'm looking on Wikipedia. Really? That guy?
So,
Anyway.
anyways, yeah.
Shall we move on to the full spoilers for Godzilla, King of the Monsters? Oh no, they say he's got to go. There go Godzilla.
Godzilla!
You know who wasn't going in this movie? I'm very sad to report that Godzuki was not in this movie.
Godzuki definitely was not in this movie.
I'm pretty upset that Godzuki did not make the leap from cartoon to screen. And I think that if Godzuki had been in this movie, it probably would have elevated it from, like mediocre to probably the greatest movie of all time tier, if I had to guess. But we'll just have to wait for maybe some sequels. Maybe Godzuki can show up in a sequel, he'll get his own spinoff. I think it'd be great.
Now that they blew up fucking Atlantis, maybe Godzuki...
What the fuck was that? Dude, okay, so I told you about my fever dream of an experience of watching it the first time.
Yeah.
And I was with Henry, who had also drank a little bit more. Well, he drank not more than me necessarily, but he had also drank a little bit. It seemed like he had a relatively similar experience. And so I asked him after the movie, like we were kind of walking back, we were walking down the boardwalk back to our hotel, and I asked him, I was like, did they go to Atlantis in this movie? Like, I'm pretty sure I saw an underwater, like, fucking temple or some shit. I'm pretty sure I saw Godzilla statues and shit. And that's where they fucking blew up the nuke right next to Godzilla. And he's just like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm not making that up, dude. I'm telling you, I'm not making that up.
They went to fucking Atlantis.
And I watched it again, and I was just like, yes, I did fucking see that. That was like my moment. I'm just like, yes, they didn't make that up. They went to basically fucking Atlantis, where they worshipped Godzilla as their fucking god. I'm like, what is happening?
It's fucking cool. How that is the... That is so fucking cool. When they go through the whirlwind and the guy's been bitching, he's been. I'm telling you, there's tunnels to the Earth, hollow Earth theory, and they go through the tunnel and they pop up in Atlantis. I was sitting there, and they start because they kind of build up to the Atlantis thing, right? They pull up and there's like little things here and little statues here, and I'm like, oh shit, dude. I hit him on the arm. They're in Atlantis. They're in Atlantis. And then the big reveal. I laugh my ass off. Godzilla his home is fucking Atlantis. How ridiculous is that? He goes to Atlantis to go to sleep. Godzilla does. He literally goes home to Atlanta. Oh God, I got fucked up. I need to go rest.
I got fucked up by Ghidorah, so I gotta go home and recharge my batteries.
He goes to Atlantis. And then they find Atlantis, and then their first thing is to do.
They just
blow it up.
Like, why don't we put a nuke in?
I literally said that. I said they're gonna blow up Atlantis.
Look at this super fucking ridiculous archaeological site. Oh my god, this radically reshapes human history. Let's blow it up with a nuke.
Blow it up. Get the biggest bomb we can find and blow this shit up.
I like how they had like non-nukes in this. Non-nukes. They had the oxygen destroyer or whatever the fuck to like fucking. They're like
it kills all life.
You should probably get out of there. Maybe there's something hidden there. I don't know, but it's going to be there in 2 minutes and potentially blow up. So you should probably get out of the blast radius. Oh man, this movie is just so ridiculous, isn't it?
It is.
I had a pretty good time with a lot of this movie though. Well, I gotta say, Ghidorah, I enjoyed how much they made Ghidorah a fucking real threat. Like, Ghidorah, like, basically kicked Godzilla's ass up and down for, like, 90% of this movie. It wasn't until fucking Godzilla got his bullshit fucking nuclear pulses, like, radiating from his fucking body that he was able to even, like, touch Ghidorah.
He's gonna melt down. Just Godzilla's
fucking big fucking goddamn radiation, just red radiation waves pulsing from his body.
And he starts melting. Oh, yeah, so cool.
It literally just melts his ass like on the spot. Does he fucking eat his head or something?
Yes.
He like burps up some lightning and shit at the end too.
How do you get better than that?
It's ridiculous.
It's so
don't know.
ridiculous.
It's
Ghidorah
so
fucking
awesome.
eats the Transformers. Ghidorah's like getting fucked up by Godzilla and looks over and there's a fucking power substation, so he just latches onto it.
Yeah.
And then he just shoots electricity.
Yeah, fucking lightning and shit going everywhere. That was badass. I like how they made Ghidorah a fucking hurricane or a tropical storm or some shit. He's literally a tropical storm. Like that
Wait,
tropical
that's no
storm's
storm?
moving really fast. Why is
That's
it
no
moving so
storm?
fast? And they look at it and they're like, oh shit, there's a monster in the middle of it. Even though we had tracking on all the monsters in the first place, I'm not sure how we didn't figure this out before now, but it's fine. Don't worry about
It's
it.
totally fine.
I'm just the director of technology, but why am I the director of technology? No reason. I'm not qualified for any of this.
Oh man, that shit is fucking. It's awesome. It's hilariously awesome. It's so
Well, let's
good.
talk about all the monster stuff, because I feel like that's the good stuff, and we're having a grand old time talking about it, aren't we? So I feel like we so there's a lot of Mothra. We got Mothra, who, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that you're not overly familiar with like the '97 Godzilla films that have been released in Japan, the Toho Godzilla films.
No,
Like, you
definitely not.
maybe vaguely familiar with something. So I'm kind of in the same boat. Like
I know there's
I
a
watched-
Mecha Godzilla or a Mecha.
Yeah, I know. There's Mecha Godzilla, there's a Mecha Ghidorah as well. There's Mecha fucking probably everyone, honestly. I wouldn't doubt it. There's Godzuki, of course, who's an all-time classic.
I feel like there was
there's
a video
also-
game that came out, right? There was a video game that came out with all the.
Yeah, and it had like all of them. It was like a fighting game, but not like a 2D fighting game. Like it was a big 3D, built, knock over skyscrapers and
Yeah.
shit as you're fighting. I don't know if it was any good, but that's a great idea on paper, isn't it? Like that sounds
Yeah,
fucking
no, it's
awesome.
really, it's really cool. I think I played that game a whole lot, and that's my only familiarity with all these Godzilla monsters.
Like that's what their fucking Rampage movie should have been, not The Rock and George. George. Get out of here,
Said
George.
fucking 14 times.
The George the movie. Rampage featuring George, the George. Yeah, so anyway, in terms of like the monsters, like I'm not overly familiar, although I know Mothra is a thing, I know Rodan is a thing, they're all kind of, I think they were only able to get the licenses from Toho for these 4 characters. But I think
that
there's
right?
a lot more. I think because there's a
there's a
spider,
ton of
there's like a
characters,
spider Muto in this, or a spider Kaiju Titan, that's the word. There's a spider Titan and there's a spider Titan in Toho, but apparently it's not the same that's in this one. I know the Mutos from the 2014 Godzilla, of which there's one from the same design, and this one was, I think, an original design for the 2014 movie. So I know there's more out there, but we don't really. There's like a fucking mammoth Titan in this one, isn't there?
Yeah, it's cool. There's a mammoth
But
Titan.
that's all. I think those are all kind of just like original type things. But I thought like I said, Godzilla was pretty badass. Although I do think he got his ass kicked a little too much. But what are you gonna do? You
think he got
can't
his
just
ass
have him
kicked too
shred
much?
everyone. Yeah, dude got clowned basically through most of the movie until he entered God mode with the fucking nuclear shit at the end. I don't know, man. I kind of
Ghidorah's a fucking alien that came from the skies.
and that was pretty sick. I like that. This is fucking literally they're just like, yeah, he's just an alien. He's not part of our natural order, so his shit just doesn't make sense. He's literally a fucking alien that can do whatever the fuck he wants. It was pretty badass. I was surprised because there was a lot. There was a lot of stuff in the trailer that we saw, like really cool, like effects moments and stuff like that. And basically, all we saw in the trailer had Ghidorah with 3 heads, and then he lost his head pretty early on in that movie. And I'm like, oh fuck, was that a lot of like fake out type effects shots? He just regrows his fucking head. And I'm just like, oh, well, I guess they weren't lying about those shots, but like, what the hell, man?
Yeah,
Where did that
doesn't give
come
a
from?
Fuck about anything.
Yeah, Ghidorah was some OP shit right there. I'll tell you that.
Now the
Man.
question is how do you how do you top Ghidorah? Like, what else is
know.
out there? Unless it's a mecha, unless the terrorists that want to just see monsters take over the earth and wipe out humanity. Unless they make a robot Ghidorah, they could do that, I suppose, which would be acceptable.
I suppose they could do that. I don't know. Well, we'll come back to that thought. How's that?
What's speaking of which?
Okay.
How about those motivations for the bad guys?
What motivations?
Okay.
So he's partnered up with mom character, who wants to release the monsters one at a time because the radiation that they give off regenerates the planet. So it's like it's. Okay. I'm not making this up, right? It's like a way to counteract like climate change. Like, we've done irreversible damage, but if we let the Titans kind of take over, then they will regenerate. Kind of, they will counteract what has been done. Am I making that up? That was a thing, right?
No. That is totally a thing. So the radiation.
They're definitely going to murder a lot of people in the span of doing that because they didn't seem too preoccupied with evacuating everyone. It's like when her shit went sideways because like once they awoke Monster Zero / Ghidorah, he's just like, I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet, and then he wakes everyone up at the same time, and that like is like a big fucking. I guess because they didn't have prep time to evacuate people. Because she's not like actively trying to murder people. I mean, she's fine with her coworkers getting murdered because of the greater good or whatever. But
she's fine with everybody fucking getting murdered. Bitch is crazy.
And then her daughter's in on it too, which is kind of just like she's like, this isn't how it was supposed to go, Mom. And then Tywin's all like, well, what did you think it was going to be like? And I'm like, I mean, that's a pretty good question. Like, what did you sell your daughter on? Like, she's just like, we're gonna free all the monsters and it's gonna be fine. I'm like, is it gonna be fine? Like, what version of this doesn't result in like even when like Godzilla was like the quote unquote hero character in 2014, but he like devastated San Francisco. He like devastated Hawaii, and it's just like he's just so fucking big that anywhere he steps, he's gonna kill like 1,000 people. It's literally just what's going to happen. Like, there's too many fucking humans for him to like tiptoe around everyone. Like, Godzilla doesn't give a fuck.
No.
He's just like, fuck these monsters. Or like Ghidorah is like, this guy's an alien. Fuck this guy. I'm gonna fucking eat this motherfucker's head.
He's the king of the monsters.
He doesn't care about humans. He's just like, I'm just gonna fucking murder shit, man. Like, he's like, I'm not trying to like destroy the humans or whatever, but like, hey man, if there's a building in my way, I'm just gonna walk through it. Like, that's just Godzilla. He's just like, my tail's big and I'm gonna fucking swing it around and shit, and it's just gonna fucking knock some skyscrapers over. Like, hey, don't build that shit in my way if you don't want me to fucking knock it over. I don't know what your deal is.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's Godzilla.
Godzilla don't give a fuck.
No. So that game, by the way, is Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee.
I was gonna say that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, GameCube. Wow, that's old school. Okay. Yeah. There might be one more recent than that. I don't know.
There is a Godzilla that came out for the PS4, but I don't know if it's a Melee.
It's probably not very good because I have no idea. I've never heard of it until now, probably.
It's just called Godzilla PS4.
Just called Godzilla? That's lame. Anyway.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
I don't know. No worries. Yeah, I mean, I just found the motivation just very lacking. Like, it was just kind of like a weird climate change message in a Godzilla movie. It's just like, I mean, I don't know if this is it, Chief, you know? Like,
that's it. It was just weird. It was
like, it's
weird.
just a bizarre angle, I think, to take with it. Because, like in a way, these are like disaster porn type movies. Like, you see a bunch of shit getting fucking destroyed because, these monsters are the size of skyscrapers, and it's like the end of every Power Rangers episode when you have the Megazord and it destroys the whole fucking city.
Yeah. And
then it's magically rebuilt the next episode. It's a little different here because it doesn't get magically rebuilt, but it's just like people watch it because it's it was back in the day, it was literally people in suits just fucking destroying miniatures and shit. Like, that was the appeal of it. And then, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know that it needed more than that. Like, they tried to add like so much more depth to it, like, really putting in a big message. I'm like, motherfucker, it's a Godzilla movie. Like, I mean,
just had that monster awake on its own.
Like, the original had a little bit to say about the role of atomic bombs and how that kind of played out, because it was a film made in Japan 10 years after they got fucking nuclear bombs literally dropped on them. Like, hey, that's pretty fucking relevant. Here, I'm not going to say that climate change isn't relevant. I'm not saying that, but like, I just don't know that we have a whole lot to say on that, and I don't think this is the appropriate way to go about it.
If you're gonna say it in a different way, maybe. If you want to
I
make
guess,
this movie a message.
I guess it just felt shoehorned in. Like, it didn't feel like a natural, responsive way to responsibly deal with that. It really just kind of felt like a half baked, like a look, we're getting, topical with these things. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like movies get topical all the time. So it's just like, hey, like you can either have this be about climate change or you can have this be about fucking big monsters destroying shit. Like,
Just make it simple.
I don't know what you're trying to pull off here, but it's not working. Anyway,
maybe focus less on climate change and focus more on the interpersonal relationships between these characters.
I just thought the mom character, and that's kind of what the 2014 one did to varying levels of success, which I guess we should say that like this one has very little reference at all to the 2014 Godzilla. I mean, Kick-Ass isn't in this, Scarlet Witch isn't in this.
No.
Bryan Cranston died too soon in that movie and is not in this as a result. We do bring back Dr. Serizawa, the Ken Watanabe character, and the Sally Hawkins character, Shape of Water, as his assistant or something. I don't know.
That's I think that's the girl that gets squashed or whatever.
Yeah, is that what you're talking about earlier on when like Serizawa is just like he's like real like he's like, oh fuck, my assistant just died, and everyone else is just like, anyway.
Nobody cares. I know I don't care. I'm sorry, dude. I don't care.
That was another moment when I watched it the first time. I'm like, did she just get fucking swatted or shit? Like she gets swatted by one at like Ghidorah or something, right? Or no, he fucking eats her, doesn't he, or something? Doesn't he like picks her out and eats her or some shit, doesn't he?
I don't think it's anything quite that visceral. I think it's just as simple as a tail swap or a fucking
something like that
or something.
But
like
it was
that,
like a very nonchalant kind of just like a like showing how small humans are, like just swatted off carrot. I'm like, well, she's dead. And I thought I saw that the first time around. I'm just like, that was kind of like usually they like to film these things in like a big hurrah kind of moment where it's just like, oh my god, they killed this character. And
you didn't build up to her, and you didn't do. I mean, I didn't care about the.
Yeah, well, it was like like she just got swatted, and I was just like, I think I saw that. And then they show she was like dead, like Serizawa was like mourning her, and like the next scene or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, so she did get killed. Okay. But that was kind of my response. Was like, oh yeah, okay, all right, I was right. I got it. Very good, very good. What's going on now?
Yeah, right. It's just stupid. I don't care about any of it. I just care about Atlantis. Atlantis was probably my favorite part. I really liked Atlantis, and I liked when he awoke too. They blow up all that ice.
Yeah,
and then you know what? I'm gonna segue again. I like the Mothra shit. So Mothra wakes up and she's like a fucking larva. And then she, she goes and cocoons herself and comes back, and it's real fucking epic. She was really cool. She's just
all about healing Godzilla and shit, man.
So did her radiation heal Godzilla? Is that what that was?
It seemed like it. Yeah, she got like fucking blown up and shit, and then like it supercharged Godzilla even more than he'd already been supercharged or something like that. Or like let's say Godzilla was getting fucked up again at the end, and then Mothra like reinvigorates him, and then he goes like fucking,
nuclear
Red Godzilla or whatever. Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous, wasn't it? It was
buildings are melting,
awesome.
Cars are melting. He's just and then I figured he was going to shoot like a different colored beam and like melt
like a red beam or something.
Yeah. No, he's just
fucking pulse bombs radiating from his body. Just absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Oh man. So,
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Okay, so they're at some point they're on like a boat, and Godzilla's swimming under the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then Godzilla pops up out of the water, and like looks at him. Know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember him popping out of the water, but he kind of looks at him in the water for sure.
He doesn't pop up and like look at all the people on the boat in the water.
I don't remember him surfacing at any point in that way, but I could be wrong.
I think he surfaces because I remember thinking, and it's been a couple days since I've seen the movie, I guess, but he surfaces and he looks at him, and it makes me wonder how he's treading water to look at the people, because he's in a super deep part of the ocean. I know he's really tall, but he's not that tall. I think it's right after they nuke the. I think it's right. Yeah, it is. It's right after they nuke the shit. It's right after they nuke Atlantis, and the nuke pushes them up to the surface, and so they go to the surface, and then he comes up there and like makes a noise or whatever, and then heads to town to go fuck up Ghidorah. But that's what happens, and he's sitting there, and he looks up at him, And he's got little T-Rex arms. And he's got short, little thick legs. He's treading water and looking at the guys. Looking at the people on the boat. And I had a problem with that because that's really fucking stupid. Godzilla's not going to be... He's not proportioned correctly to tread water. Pop his head up. Does that make sense?
I don't remember any of this, so I have very little to comment on this front.
All right, fair enough.
I don't recall the sequence. I don't recall it standing out to me in any sort of way. So
that to me,
you absolutely might be right. I'm not going to say you're not. I honestly just don't know.
Anyways, I'm rambling. The Mothra shit was cool.
Yeah, Mothra shit was cool. I liked Mothra. I thought I've been on the record. Kyle Chandler, I think he's a great actor. His role as Coach Taylor in Friday Night Lights is an all-time for me. His character was a hot mess in this. Like his role is just to like always be on 11. He's just like, well, why don't we fucking do this? Why don't we fucking blow him up? Like that's his role in this movie. like for 30 minutes, he's just like, we should fucking kill them all. Like he's going. It's a real Alex Jones situation for like the first 30 minutes for him.
That's what they should have cast. Fuck, that would have been so good.
The nuclear bombs return to the Titans gay.
Holy shit. Alex Jones as the dad, as Molly Brown's. Then it would make fucking sense, right? It would make sense that his wife is like a maniacal maniac and that his daughter's associated with the fucking terrorist organization. It would all make sense. Oh, you got Alex Jones taking pictures of wolves out there. Oh yeah, alpha wolf.
See, that's the thing. Like his is the type of character for me that frustrates me. Like when I see this type of character in every movie, where like he is the character that knows everything in every situation. He's just like, well, I fucking studied wolves. This is how fucking every alpha behaves, and I'm just like, yeah, but they're not wolves. Like, I mean, like you might be right. You absolutely could be right, but you don't fucking know that. Like, fuck you. Like, you don't fucking know that. Like just the way that wrote that character, like it was like every single time something happened, he's just like, we should fucking do this. And then everyone like stared at each other for a few minutes and like, well, yeah, we'll do that. You know, it's just like, well, I just felt like for a movie that had like 800 characters in it, like you've got a director of technology, maybe he should know something about technology. You've got a fucking, army colonel. She should have some pretty good fucking military strategy. You don't make colonel without doing a few fucking things in your military career. And it's just like, this is weird. You had the Bradley Whitford character who's just there to be like, yo, they're traveling through fucking pockets in the fucking center of the earth, bro. And like it's just like it's all weird. It's just like a bunch of mishmash of like weird characters that don't do anything. And Dr. Sarazawa was just like, Godzilla is the answer. And at least he sticks to his guns. I respect that. I respect that Dr. Zara sticks to his guns. He's just like, we should just fucking feed Godzilla radiation, man. Like, just fucking let Godzilla go to town. He'll fucking kill us all.
I'll detonate the nuke in Atlantis. I'll travel into the fucking lava pit. Detonate.
So anyway, that's I mean, like I said, there's things that happen in this movie, man. There's lots of things. We've talked for too long about this movie.
I have tears coming down.
I've had a fun conversation about this movie. I'm not gonna lie. I was looking forward to having this this talk with you to hash it out, see where you're at with that. But yeah, we're absolutely on the same page. Did you stick around for the post credits? I'll ask you that.
No, I got up the second the credits started rolling.
Okay, I kind of figured. Well, actually, no, that's a good point. I'm glad you said something about the credits because there was a lot of lore buried in the fucking credits. Like, literally every headline in the credits. I don't know, did you watch any of the credits at all?
No, got up immediately.
So there was a lot of shit in the credits, like setting up like weird fucking like a lot of things setting up future things. Like literally in the credits and headlines, like as like the cast and stuff gets like cast list is on there. It's really bizarre. Like it showed like the Titans are. This is from the Wikipedia. The Titans are healing the Earth. There's a second Mothra egg that gets discovered in like a headline in the credits, and I'm like, hey, that seems like fucking noteworthy things to happen, right? and it talks about the Titans converging on Skull Island and shit. And then the last shot, when it shows like directed by Michael Dougherty, it shows a cave painting of Godzilla fighting fucking King Kong. And I'm like, why is that buried in your credits that no one's watching? It's absolutely bizarre. And in the post-credit sequence, which I thought for sure was going to set up Godzilla vs. Kong, which is coming out, by the way.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's a so it's Tywin Lannister, and he goes to like a black market, and they're showing him one of the severed Ghidorah heads, and he's like, "We'll take it." So I think they are setting up like some sort of
Oh, they're gonna build a fucking mecha gun.
I think they're setting up some sort of fucked up contraption with, like, that was my first thought, was like, oh, they're fucking doing, like, they're gonna make a man-made human-made mecha Ghidorah.
Yeah, that's fucking cool.
And it's gonna be a real Batman v Superman type situation where Godzilla versus Kong, they fight for 2 acts, then they find out their mothers have the same name, and then they fucking fight mecha Ghidorah at the end.
Oh, man. That would be... Well, it has to be that way, because you know Godzilla would fuck up King Kong.
That's where I'm at. It's like, you ask her, like, what the fuck does... Like, you know, where do you go from here? And, like, who the fuck does Godzilla fight? And I'm like...
It's not King Kong.
It's not King Kong. Like, they made King Kong a lot bigger than he is in, like, the old movies and shit. But,
that's
like,
okay. Make him big.
Which is fine. You have to. If it was a fucking, like, just regular-ass size Kong, Godzilla would step on him. He'd just step on him and be done with it. He'd be like a little fucking human, man. Like it's crazy. Like
King Kong.
They're really gonna have to sell me on the Godzilla versus Kong aspects, because I don't see how it is a movie.
He can shoot beams out of his mouth. Like, I mean, I don't...
Like King Kong. Like King Kong, cool, totally cool. But like,
it's just
the way that they've set Godzilla up,
gorilla.
Godzilla should be King Kong in like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
like there's no doubt in my mind. But anyway, Godzilla vs. Kong is coming out in 2020.
Wow, it's right around the corner.
Yeah, it's been filming. It might even be done filming. I'm not even sure.
Oh, that's incredible.
But yeah, like, well, it's crazy because like this movie's not doing all that well, but like they're fucking invested, man. Like they're already into it. Like it's basically a done. You know, it's a movie that's already done. They're bringing back fucking Alex Jones and Eleven for the new one. And
that's bullshit. I want new characters.
There are new characters too. There's other characters that are coming back, but they are of characters that are coming back. It's interesting. I think there's a ship called the USS Brody, which I believe is a 2014 reference to the Godzilla movie. But other than that, there was very little connection to that, other than like the Muto design and stuff like that, and you know Godzilla just being a big monster and stuff. So anyway, yeah, Godzilla vs. Kong 2020.
I'm excited. I'll go see that for sure.
Oh yeah. I you know, I would like these movies to be more, but at this point, I'm not sure why I would expect them to be more.
Apparently, there's a card game coming out. Godzilla card game's been announced 1 day ago.
Okay.
And there's a fighting game coming out by Arc System Works. It's called Godzilla vs. Kong Fighting Game. There's a fighting game coming out. Godzilla vs. Kong fighting game will be revealed at E3 2019 2 days ago.
Huh. Well, E3 is ongoing as we're recording this, so maybe it's in the wild, or soon to be in the wild. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, anyways, that's it.
Anyway, do you have anything else? I think that's about it.
That's not it.
That's about it. Maybe Godzuki will show up in Godzilla vs. Kong. That's about it. That's about all I got. Well,
Godzilla. That's gonna be fucking ridiculous.
I've also heard speculation that, so I guess there's a character called Destroya, who had something to, like, I don't know exactly what happened, but like oxygen was kind of like a big reason why like the Destroya got created or something like that, and there was the oxygen destroyer in here, so people are thinking that maybe because of that, because Ghidorah got exposed to that could lead to the creation of Destroya or something like that. But I think Tywin Lannister is building a mecha Ghidorah. Seems like a real Lannister kind of move to me, if you ask me. So
Destroya looks pretty fucking crazy too.
Yeah,
he's got like a mouth on his chest.
Yeah, what does he even eat it for? Is he eating out of it? What's he doing?
I don't know what he's
crazy.
Going on there.
He's shooting beams out of it. He's probably shooting beams out of it. I bet, screaming a lot. You know, from his chest.
I'll have to read up on Destroya.
Yeah, I'm holding out hope for some mechas, and like maybe maybe what'll happen is that for the third act, after Godzilla gets his ass kicked in usual first act fashion, Godzilla will put armor on and become Mecha Godzilla.
Oh, listen here. Unless I think you literally just got done saying this. Destroyer originated as a colony of microscopic crustaceans that had been awakened and mutated in Tokyo Bay when the Oxygen Destroyer was detonated to kill the original Godzilla in 1954.
I mean, the Oxygen Destroyer, that doesn't feel like a coincidence, right? I think Destroyer might be our third act threat. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Oh, I love the big monster movie franchise. Oh, I'm all in.
It's so dumb. I love it. You just can't help but love it.
number 2. Yeah, that's it. Oh,
can't help but love it. So there we go. That's Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Is he? Yes, he is. He is King of the Monsters. The title of the movie spoiled everything. As it turned out, you been up to anything lately you want to talk about?
I finished Good Omens.
Okay.
That was good.
Satisfying?
I liked
Satisfying experience? Very good? Very good?
Yeah, totally liked it. I am a couple episodes away from finishing Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You and I both. Season 7 episode coming along soon. Mm-hmm. Soonish.
And I'm looking forward to starting Chernobyl.
Mm-hmm. Chernobyl is a different series. Again, we had a phone conversation. Chernobyl is the one where the musical artist Cher sings lots of songs about nuclear meltdowns and stuff. So Chernobyl, I believe is the HBO series though. So you can watch both. And I'm not going to watch the Chernobyl, but you let me know how it is and get back to me about it.
And that's pretty much where I'm at. So I'm just trying to catch up on the requirements of this podcast, finish up the Game of Thrones so I can just start kind of watching things that I would like to watch. Not that I don't want to watch Game of Thrones. I don't want to give that impression. I do like to watch the Game of Thrones, but
I'm kind of getting that impression though, in a way. I mean, I don't think we've been all that secretive about our feelings about a certain season of Game of Thrones, and perhaps that has infected your opinions on other seasons of Game of Thrones. We'll just have to find out when we record. Soon. Very soon. Yeah, so that's it for you. Any others? Anything else?
No, that's it, dude. That's all I got.
All right, well, I can't say that I've been watching a whole lot lately. I've been doing actually a lot of traveling, as it turned out. So I can talk about that very briefly. Talked about how I went to Atlantic City, and I did. I sort of saw Godzilla while I was there. Also went down. I kind of explored the New Jersey coastline with Henry for a little bit. We went down to Cape May, had some brewskis down that way. He's moved down to Delaware. He's all settled into Delaware, so I checked that out earlier today. Checked out the Wilmington riverfront. Very cool.
Very nice.
And that's kind of it. I mean, it was fun. It's fun to do traveling, drink beers and stuff like that. Eat some good food and all, but it doesn't leave a lot of time for watching and consuming content, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to step my game up. I think for when we record next, I should have a little bit more downtime to work on some things. Game of Thrones obviously is kind of the priority. I think we're kind of at the same spot in season 7, so that's certainly something to push through, so we can watch some other things and report back on them. So I think that's it for me. I don't feel the need to keep going in circles. So I will say thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. If you would like to support us on Patreon, you may do so by heading to our website, watchreviewrepeat.com, clicking the premium tab on the top left, and then clicking the Become a Patron button. So Game of Thrones Season 6 is up there right now. It's a timed exclusive. Pro tip, it'll probably be on the regular feed soon, so don't feel too pressured right now. But we're going to have a lot of great bonus content coming to our Patreon once we wrap up all of our Game of Thrones coverage, hopefully over the next few weeks. We don't have everything, again, exactly mapped out, but there'll be some goodies. There'll definitely be some goodies you won't want to miss out on. And, of course, if you want to have priority access to all of our regular episodes, Patreon is the only way you can do that. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, by all means, absolutely jump on that. Let's see. We are on Twitter at WRRPod. We are on Facebook at Watch Review Repeat. If you'd like to email us, our Gmail account is watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Some of you may recall that on our Aladdin episode, we introduced a new segment called the Listener's Corner, and unfortunately, we didn't get anything in time for this episode. But it's not too late. We're always recording. We're always consuming the content. We're always recording on the content. And so if you want to get in touch with us, you have some thoughts on anything we've talked about, Game of Thrones, Aladdin, Godzilla. You have any thoughts on anything that you've been watching that we haven't been talking about at all? It's all cool. Absolutely very cool. Send it to our email. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook. And I think that'd be fun. We always encourage our listeners to interact with us, and I think that would be a good thing to have happening a little bit more regularly. So, no pressure, but do it. Just do it.
Just
Nike.
do it.
Just
Nike,
little Nike stuff. You know what I mean? Intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Our next regular episode, I should say, will be on something that I think Andrew and I have been looking forward to for the greater part of the year, and that is Dark Phoenix.
Fuck. We're covering that for real? That's what we're covering next?
I mean, I don't think... I mean, it's either that or Secret Life of Pets 2.
All right. Okay. I guess it's settled. Okay. All right. You heard it here first.
We do it for the people, Yeah. And when you see a 22% score on Rotten Tomatoes, you got quality waiting for you.
I guess that's what we're
You just
saying.
got to suck it up. I mean, is it going to be worse than X-Men Origins Wolverine? Is it going to be worse than X-Men The Last Stand, the movie that they've decided to remake for some fucking reason? That's the real question, I suppose.
We'll get into it. That and
We'll find out.
On the next episode of Watch Review Repeat.
It might be a real Hellboy type situation, if you know what I mean.
I hope I laugh. I'll have to have a couple beers.
You got it. Yeah. Maybe some Long Islands. I don't know, man. I don't know. You got to whatever it takes. Hashtag whatever it takes. Well, until then, we will see you there, or we will see you on another time. Andrew,
Latest on the Min J.
take care now. Bye then.